Hey guys, welcome back. So we have returned from San Antonio. It was a very interesting trip. So just before we left, we had family in town who was here a bit longer than we actually expected because, well, we let them in plan the trip and, well, yeah, anyways, details got all mixed up anyways, so that kind of wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just like, oh, we didn't really plan for that, if that makes sense. Is what it is now. And then my dad had invited one of his other siblings over for the 4th of July, and so that happened. And they were actually here before we were able to make it back. Hey, Allie. See, honey? My room is kind of a mess still. You can see I still have a suitcase and an air mattress from my little cousin being here. Like, I didn't get my suitcase unpacked because they were here when we got back. Like, yeah. Anyways, so we went to San Antonio. Whoa, what did I do to my hair? Sorry, guys. Let me just pat her down there a little bit. Anyways, so, we get there the first night and we pretty much just find someplace to eat and go to bed. The next morning we get up, we get around, we go down to the hospital first to make sure that we can find the place because some places it's really complicated and others it's pretty easy to navigate, and luckily we had talked to like their receptionist beforehand and she gave very specific instructions and they were really accurate and we were able to find it fairly easily. So after we located that, we left to go shop on the base a little bit. I had forgotten a sweater, and for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty much always cold. Like, going in and out of the heat into the AC, like, yeah, that's nice for some, but for me, I mostly just freeze my butt off even more. So yeah, that happened. And so when we were on base, they actually had some really good deals and everything. A lot of stuff was on sale. We went ahead and got a sweater. My mom got a few gifts for my brother, and yeah, anyways, that was pretty much that. We looked around for some like souvenirs and to see like what else they had there because it's always cool to see what the different places we go to offer. Then we pretty much just went back and were early, like an hour early for our appointment. But the doctor saw us pretty quickly, honestly, almost like 45 minutes early for the appointment. They took us back, and then we waited for like 15 minutes in there after they had done all the vitals and all that. It really wasn't bad. We did all that, and then the doctor finally comes in with us. So before we go into all those details, we did get to, because we had an extra day and they couldn't get us home till the 4th, we did get to go on the river walk and see all that, and we got our touristy things. I got like a little keychain and a couple t-shirts, and yeah, so it was lots of fun. We did get to do some of the touristy stuff. We went to the malls. I really wanted to do this like sea land thing, but it actually wasn't actually open, so I'm hoping if we go back again that I will get to do that because that would have been a lot of fun, honestly. So anyways, that's what we did there. There was a Ben and Jerry's. I've never seen like a Ben and Jerry's ice cream shop. Like, I've seen it in the freezer section, but they have non-dairy, and for those of you who don't know, I am lactose intolerant. I just have a lot of issues with foods and stuff, so it was really cool to get to have like options that are milk free, and so that was really cool and fun. And since we are like allotted so much a day and I hadn't eaten lunch, got like a little almond milk shake thing. It was cool. It actually tasted really good. Trying to think of what other cool stuff. We got to just kind of like, the river walk was really pretty. There was like this waterfall and like came out where you were walking, but your feet didn't get all soaked. It had like little divots that let it run out. Anyways, it was really pretty. It was cool. I'm trying to think, what else did we see? We got a lot of like really weird people that came up to us, but I'll probably put that in a separate video, like just the crazy crap people came out and asked us or told us to do. Like, me and my mom were both like, do we just like have a sign on our head or something? Like, anyways, we know how to attract them. So we go forward with everything, and yeah. So rewind a little bit back to the doctor's office. So we get there, and our first worry is that they're not going to see us because it is pediatric. And I'm like, definitely not pediatric anymore. And I have been rejected from some doctors because I'm not pediatric. But luckily they had already worked that all out. He was already aware of my case and everything. And so we went in there, and basically I showed him all the cool tricks and weird things I can do with my body, and he's like, well, can you do this? Can you do that? Yada yada. And so after we get done doing that, the physical exam and all that, he sits us down and says, yes, you do for sure have some form of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And he goes into breaking it all down of what that can mean and everything. And he's pretty sure I just have hypermobile type, but he is testing me for classical type 1 and 2 and also vascular type, just to make sure that we don't need to be doing anything differently, you know, because vascular type, I know, like, it sounds pretty obvious, but it is more severe, more life-threatening as far as that goes. And then classical 1 and 2 are just kind of different variations. It really depends. We didn't get too far into those ones. Vascular was the one he was like, that's really gonna be, if that's what it comes back as, we'll have to pretty much take immediate action, you know. But with just Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, like, period, you need a cardiologist, and you need to go to them every 3 to 5 years if you don't have any of the types that specifically mess with like your cardiovascular system. But just because it is a connective tissue disorder, and that's a tissue that is constantly working and very important to your body, you know, they check it every so often, because like with vascular type, it is very common for there to just be like a random aortic dissection, you know. Definitely don't want that to happen. So he discussed that with us, and then he also discussed how important it would be to manage the stress and anxiety in my life, and then of course the weight loss, which is always like, it's good, but it's hard. I used to have an eating disorder, like, pretty bad. I went through like an anorexic, and then I thought I could prove to them that I wasn't by eating and then making myself sick or getting rid of it in some way, and that didn't work out in my favor. I actually wound up gaining back a bunch of weight and stuff. But anyways, that's aside the point. It does, when people tell me that, it is kind of hard for me to remind myself that I can't fall back into that, if that makes sense. So just working on moving forward and being an adult about it. It is what it is now, you know. It's not like I'm gonna wake up one morning and magically be fixed. This is what we have to deal with at this point. And he was really concerned as far as mental health goes, because I'm considered at risk for all sorts of things. And yeah, anyways, so he wants to get that under control, and then of course getting all the other doctors that I will need. I'll need occupational physical therapy, and also the cardiologist. I already have a gastroenterologist, and I actually am going in for an endoscopy just to kind of like see what's going on in my throat. and we'll get those results. They said right after, actually, they'll be able to tell us what's going on. So yeah. The other thing I wanted to touch on, who is at risk? So honestly, this will depend on the type, because hypermobile type isn't one of those ones that is absolutely passed on no matter what. It's more of like a 50-50 type of thing, like kind of a toss of a coin. We're not really sure, let's just see what happens next kind of a thing, you know. The other ones will require that my entire family gets tested, so like my mom and dad, and then from there whoever's, I guess, positive, gets, their side of the family gets tested, I guess. I don't know. That was kind of my understanding of how he would do it, but anyways, we'll just see. So as far as we know, no one else is diagnosed in my family. Obviously, I have part of my family that we don't really talk to. We don't really have a solid relationship with, where we would actually communicate about that, you know. So that one part of the family is pretty questionable, you know. Like, obviously we could call them up and be like, hey, by the way, you know, you might have this life-threatening disease, you should probably get tested, you know. They may do it, they may not. Like I said, we don't have like the greatest relationship with all of them, but you know, it is what it is. And then luckily the rest of my family is pretty open and was willing to share all their medical history and all that, so that was great. I don't really want to share too much of their information because I feel like that's for them to share, but there are definitely signs, even in my grandparents, one of them more than another, that really leads that they might have Ehlers-Danlos as well. They have a lot of the symptoms, so we're just kind of waiting to see what they say. If it's the less severe type, then obviously it's not like mandatory. My grandparents could start doing some of these other things for, you know, just general health reasons, you know. If it doesn't require too much. I mean, obviously you want to if you can afford it, but I know a lot of people are like, well, my insurance is gonna go up, and for me it's like, well, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life anymore because this has caused me so much issues. So anyways, moving on from that, after we got the results, we met up with my mom's friend, and honestly I was so anxious about it, and I don't even know why. I was just really anxious, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to do it, and yeah, I was just like, I don't want to eat in front of people, blah blah blah, like just totally having a really rough time with it. And so we sit down and we're talking to her, and she winds up being so uplifting and so encouraging. But unfortunately, at the beginning of our dinner, we get a message that one of my uncles has passed away, which was really sad. He's not biologically related to me, but he was a part of the family and there for me when I was little. I felt very left out because my cousin was kind of like, not that, I mean, she was little and it seemed like she was the center of attention, and like he took me and like let me dance with him, and you know, all these other little like things to help me that like kind of made me feel special, you know. So it was sad to hear that I lost him. But as we were sitting there, my mom's friend was talking to me, and it was very inspirational. There were parts of it like I just felt like God was speaking to me right through her. And I understand some of you don't believe in God, but please respect the fact that I do. I try to be respectful of everyone else's differences and beliefs and stuff, you know, but that's just kind of like where I get my hope from, you know, and what I truly believe, you know. Like I said, don't hate on me. I try to respect everyone else's views, and yeah, anyways, we can coexist here. Anyway, she was just like, you can't let this ruin you. You have such gifts that you were blessed with. And, you know, she just really kind of pumped me up. It made me feel better. Obviously, in the moment when all this is happening, it's a lot easier to just kind of like put on this brave face and, yeah, we've got this, you know. It gets really difficult. Yeah, you don't really know what to do necessarily, so yeah, you just kind of hope for the best at this point. We're just waiting for the official results to make sure that it's nothing worse is really what we're waiting on now. I've set up for sure a physical therapy appointment. The other, like, I called 6 different people today and I only got one appointment. Like, it was very disappointing, but anyways, at least we've got one, and I did get them to switch it to a female because I was like, I really don't see that going over well with all my past experiences with males, and difficulties that I've had in the situations with them, that it would really be comfortable for me to have somebody trying to help me learn to reuse my body in different ways, if that makes sense. I just felt like it would be very stressful for me. So we did go ahead and switch that over to a female. So I was very thankful. The lady that I called today was very helpful, did her best. There was one doctor that was not actually the kind of doctor she was led to believe, but it is what it is. I mean, things happen. Nobody's perfect. I've got to call them again and see if I can get the other couple numbers that they had. But yeah, anyways. So that's going to be it for today. We'll talk some more in depth. I know this is kind of like a lot all at once. So for those of you who are still here and stuck through my little rant, thank you. I appreciate your guys' support. YouTube has kind of become my way of coping and processing, I guess. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys for all your support. Definitely come check back in. I will let you know when we find out the exact results and all that. So anyways, thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.